I'm Matt Taibbi, and welcome to Behind the News, the show with twice the graphics and half the insight. This week, so remember after 2016 when we gave Donald Trump billions of dollars of free coverage and we in the media promised we would never do it again? Are we doing it again? Of course we're doing it again. How are we doing it? Easy. We blame Donald Trump. Here's Brian Williams explaining that it's not his fault that we're doing moronic, he said, she said, general election style coverage 12 months early. It's Donald Trump's fault.
If you looked at cable news today, and all good citizens should, you might think the general election is set and Donald Trump is straight up running for re-election against the Democratic nominee, Joe Biden. But that is certainly not the case. Donald Trump sounds like he's running against Joe Biden. But there are a whole slew of Democrats, dozens of them, who beg to differ.
At this stage of the race, most candidates need to pay for their own publicity. The people who need it the least are the president himself and the frontrunner. Here's Biden getting about 3 paid commercials worth of free PR.
Our democracy is at risk. I never thought I'd use those words in my lifetime. 4 years of Donald Trump will go down in history as an aberration. Look, I believe that the president is literally an existential threat to America.
But they also do it for Trump, who gets tons and tons of time just to wail away at Biden.
He was someplace in Iowa today, and he said my name so many times that people couldn't stand it anymore. He makes his stance in Iowa once every 2 weeks, and then he mentions my name 74 times in one speech. I don't know. That reminds me of Crooked Hillary. She did the same thing.
In the last election, Trump used a technique he borrowed from the WWE. In wrestling, there are 2 main characters. There's the heel, who's the bad guy, and the babyface, the good guy. Trump always played the heel, but he understood that in wrestling, if the heel does something dirty, like for instance hit with a closed fist, the crowd expects the face to fight back. If he doesn't, the crowd will start cheering for the heel. This happened a lot in the last election. You might remember he crushed Jeb Bush this way. Trump went after his wife and then his mother, and that led to this infamous moment.
I won the lottery when I was born 63 years ago and looked up and I saw my mom. My mom is the strongest woman I know.
She should
this
be running.
This is not about my family or his family.
Here, exactly the same script repeats itself. MSNBC let Trump call Biden a slow, old, mentally declining loser. They even put the words Biden and loser together in the chyron.
Well, I heard Biden, who's a loser. I have to tell you, he's a different guy. He looks different than he used to. He acts different than he used to. He's even slower than he used to be. I'd rather run against, I think, Biden than anybody. I think he's the weakest mentally. And I like running against people that are weak mentally. I think Joe is the weakest up here.
Now, if this isn't bad enough, MSNBC then cuts to a scene of Biden being asked by reporters if he is in fact a slow, old, mentally declining loser. And if that isn't bad enough, they even include subtitles in case you missed the fact that a reporter in this scene appears to agree that Biden's schedule has been quote-unquote lighter than some of his opponents.
Earlier tonight, the former vice president was asked about Trump's attacks on him.
The president today raised questions about your age. He raised questions about whether you had the stamina to run for president. There's been a lot of questions about your schedule and that it's been a little lighter.
Then they roll the tape and Biden basically looks and sounds exactly like Trump has described him.
Look at him and look at me and answer the question.
You answer the question. Would you please answer the question?
It's self-evident.
This is exactly the format that Trump used last time around to get literally billions of dollars in free coverage. The only difference is, this time around, the networks are pretending not to approve. It gets sillier from there, and you can read more about it at taibbi.substack.com. I'm Matt Taibbi, and if you see Kenneth, ask him what the frequency is.